In the realm of public health, transparency isn't just an abstract virtue, it's the very lifeblood of trust. When a virus like COVID-19 emerges from the shadows, threatening global health and stability, the public depends on clear, honest, and timely information. This free flow of knowledge empowers individuals, communities, and governments to make informed decisions, from personal health choices to national policy responses. Transparency acts as an invisible hand, guiding us through the fog of uncertainty. However, recent events have cast a long shadow on the integrity of public health institutions. The discovery of deleted emails and undisclosed communications has shaken public trust to its core. When those entrusted with safeguarding our well-being operate in secrecy, the consequences can be devastating. The very foundation of informed consent crumbles, and the public's faith in scientific integrity is severely tested. Imagine a doctor diagnosing a patient without disclosing all the test results or potential side effects of treatment. Such an act would be considered a grave breach of trust, and rightly so. Similarly, when public health officials withhold crucial information or engage in clandestine communications, they erode the very foundation of public trust on which effective health measures depend. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a harsh lesson in the importance of transparency. In times of crisis, access to accurate and timely information is paramount. Yet, as we grapple with the pandemic's ongoing impact, it has become increasingly clear that some crucial pieces of the puzzle have been hidden from view. The recent revelation of deleted emails from a top NIH advisor has sent shockwaves through the scientific community and beyond. These weren't just routine communications. They were messages that could shed light on the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic and the early decision-making processes surrounding its handling. The deliberate deletion of these emails raises serious concerns about what information was deemed too sensitive for public consumption. The implications of this act of digital obfuscation are far-reaching. By attempting to erase these communications from the public record, the advisor in question has fueled suspicions of a cover-up. The very act of deletion implies an attempt to conceal information that could be damaging or inconvenient. This perceived lack of transparency feeds directly into existing anxieties about the pandemic's origins and the motivations of those in power. Adding fuel to the fire is the revelation of secret back channels used by high-ranking officials, including Dr. Fauci, to discuss COVID-related matters outside the purview of official channels. These undisclosed communications raise questions about whether decisions were made based on scientific evidence or influenced by external pressures. The use of such back channels further undermines the principles of transparency and accountability that are essential for public trust. The deletion of emails and the use of secret communication channels may seem like isolated incidents, but they represent a troubling pattern of behavior. When those in positions of power operate in secrecy, it erodes public trust and casts doubt on their motives. These actions suggest a lack of accountability and a disregard for the public's right to know. The repercussions of these hidden communications extend far beyond the individuals involved. The erosion of public trust in institutions like the NIH has real-world consequences for public health. When people lose faith in the entities responsible for safeguarding their well-being, they are less likely to comply with health recommendations, participate in vaccination efforts, or support public health initiatives. This decline in trust can have a chilling effect on scientific progress itself. When the public perceives science as being influenced by hidden agendas, it undermines the credibility of the entire scientific community. This skepticism can hinder research efforts, delay the development of life-saving treatments, and hamper our ability to respond effectively to future health crises. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the critical importance of public trust in vaccines. Yet, the revelation of secret communications and potential conflicts of interest has fueled vaccine hesitancy among some segments of the population. This mistrust has made it more challenging to achieve herd immunity, prolonging the pandemic and putting more lives at risk. The damage inflicted by this lack of transparency is not easily undone. It will take a concerted effort to rebuild trust, restore faith in public health institutions, and ensure that future crises are handled with the utmost integrity and openness. The lessons learned from this experience must serve as a stark reminder that transparency is not optional. It is the very foundation upon which public health rests. Section 4. Unmasking Influence. The shadowy power of backchannels. The use of backchannels in decision-making processes raises serious concerns about undue influence. When discussions occur outside the realm of official channels, it becomes difficult to determine who is shaping the narrative and for what purpose. This lack of transparency creates fertile ground for conflicts of interest to flourish. The revelation of Dr. Fauci's involvement in these back-channel communications is particularly troubling given his prominent role in shaping the public health response to the pandemic. As a trusted advisor to multiple administrations, his opinions carry significant weight. The use of unofficial channels to discuss sensitive matters raises questions about whether external pressures may have influenced his recommendations. Consider the potential impact of lobbying efforts by pharmaceutical companies or political maneuvering by those seeking to downplay the severity of the pandemic. In the absence of transparency, it becomes impossible to disentangle legitimate scientific discourse from behind-the-scenes influence peddling. This lack of clarity erodes public trust and casts a shadow of doubt over the entire decision-making process. The use of backchannels also raises concerns about accountability. When decisions are made outside the purview of official channels, it becomes more difficult to hold those in power responsible for their actions. This lack of accountability can foster a culture of impunity, where individuals feel emboldened to act in their own self-interest, rather than in the best interests of the public. Section 5. A reckoning for public health. The price of secrecy. The consequences of secrecy in public health extend far beyond the immediate fallout of scandals and investigations. The erosion of trust, the chilling effect on scientific progress, and the potential for undue influence all contribute to a climate of suspicion and skepticism that undermines the very foundations of public health. This crisis of confidence comes at a time when we can least afford it. The world faces a myriad of health challenges, from emerging infectious diseases to the growing burden of chronic illnesses. Addressing these challenges requires a coordinated global effort grounded in scientific evidence and driven by a shared commitment to public health. However, the revelations of hidden communications and potential conflicts of interest have sown seeds of doubt that threaten to undermine this collective endeavor. When people lose faith in the integrity of public health institutions and the experts who lead them, it becomes increasingly difficult to mobilize the resources and political will necessary to address these pressing health challenges. The price of secrecy in public health is measured in lives lost, illnesses prolonged, and opportunities missed. It is a price we can ill afford to pay. The time has come for a reckoning, a moment of reflection and reform to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Section 6. Restoring faith. A call for openness and accountability. Rebuilding trust in public health requires a fundamental shift towards openness and accountability. This begins with acknowledging past mistakes and committing to a different path forward. It requires embracing transparency as a core value, not just a talking point. Concrete steps must be taken to ensure that all communications related to public health decisions are documented, preserved, and made accessible to the public. This includes emails, text messages, and other forms of digital correspondence. Exemptions from disclosure should be rare and granted only in the most exceptional circumstances, where national security or individual privacy are at stake. Equally important is the need to strengthen mechanisms for accountability. This includes independent oversight of public health agencies, whistleblower protections for those who expose wrongdoing, and robust conflict of interest policies. Those who violate the public's trust must be held responsible for their actions, regardless of their position or influence. Ultimately, restoring faith in public health is not just about implementing new rules and regulations. It is about fostering a culture of transparency and accountability at all levels. It is about recognizing that public health is a public good and that decisions affecting the health of millions must be made with the utmost integrity and openness.